He was the shyest boy in the entire school. When the teacher asked the class questions in class, he knew the answers perfectly well, but he would never raise his hand to speak. Instead, he chose to quietly write the answers in his notebook, so as not to draw any attention to himself.
The author is Charles Dickens.
To get the boy to speak up, the teacher asked another question, and promised that whoever answered correctly would get a perfect score on their usual grade. None of the other students could come up with the answer. The boy still wrote the answer in his notebook. Then, when the teacher revealed the correct answer, it matched his word for word. After class, the teacher called the boy over.
Why didn't you raise your hand?
This teacher not only saw through his disguise, but also gave him warm encouragement, and it was because of that understanding that the teacher became the boy's first friend since the start of the school year. Charlie was a high school freshman. He was withdrawn and not very talkative, had no friends at school, and was often bullied. He never fought back against any of it. He simply chose to endure it in silence. His parents rarely paid attention to his inner feelings, believing that their child was just a little introverted. Charlie's older brother was a college student who only came home during breaks. His sister was in her senior year of high school, and most of her attention was on her immature boyfriend. In this household, he was like an invisible presence, there but not really mattering. The first time Charlie felt anything interesting happen was in handwork class at school. A senior student named Patrick, in order to liven up the atmosphere for the new students, drew himself a goatee just like the teacher's, and was caught red-handed.
Either you call me Patrick or you call me nothing.
Okay, nothing.
That boy was pure and bold, and Charlie secretly envied him. He lived so authentically, so fearlessly. A few days later, at a school football game, Charlie noticed Patrick sitting not far away.
Hey, nothing. Hey, nothing.
Suck it, virginity pledges.
Charlie gathered his courage, walked over to him, and greeted him in a faint voice. He didn't call him by that mocking nickname, he called him by his real name. That small gesture immediately opened up Patrick's floodgates. He invited Charlie to sit beside him. The sincerity and unreserved warmth caught Charlie off guard. And just then, a girl appeared. Her name was Sam. She was Patrick's stepsister. She had bright, sparkling eyes, and a smile warm enough to melt the winter snow. Sam sat right down next to Charlie. Charlie's introverted nature left him at a loss for words, but in the face of Sam's easy, open demeanor, his nervousness seemed a little unnecessary. After the game, Patrick invited Charlie to the school dance. He fidgeted nervously in a corner. Among the couples on the dance floor, his eyes were fixed solely on Sam. As the music grew more intense, Charlie's body began to sway slightly to the beat. He took a sip of a drink laced with alcohol for courage, then slowly made his way to the center of the floor. When the siblings saw him coming, they grabbed him and started dancing together. Suddenly, Charlie felt everything around him change. Aside from warmth, he didn't know what other word could describe that feeling. He felt like he had found his tribe. After the dance, the siblings took him to a party hosted by their friends. The host had prepared cakes made with cannabis for the guests. Charlie, feeling a little hungry after dancing, ate a piece without thinking. Soon after, he started babbling nonsense, saying he wanted a milkshake. Everyone laughed, but Sam didn't brush him off. She actually made Charlie a milkshake. In his slightly tipsy state, Charlie let down his guard. He complimented Sam on her beauty, and even voluntarily opened up about his wounds. His best friend had died the year before, without even leaving a last word. That loss had made Charlie, already introverted, even more withdrawn and closed off. To ease the awkwardness, Charlie went to the restroom, but accidentally opened the wrong door, and walked in on Patrick and the football team star, Brad, in an intimate moment. Patrick immediately chased after him and begged Charlie to keep it secret, because Brad didn't want anyone to know about his sexuality.
Agreed.
Even the most confident-looking people carry hidden secrets deep inside. On the way home that night, a very unusual song suddenly came on the radio. Sam stood up, letting the night wind fill her skirt. Lights and shadows flickered across her face as they passed. She spread her arms wide, facing the wind. Charlie was mesmerized by the sight of her. She was so free, so dazzling. Watching her, an indescribable emotion welled up inside him. From that day on, Charlie began to enjoy his time at school, and looked forward eagerly to lunch meetings with his friends. He carefully came to learn that the seemingly carefree siblings both carried heavy pasts behind them. Patrick had been carefully maintaining his secret relationship with Brad, but because Brad was afraid of his father and of ruining his reputation at school, they had never gone public. As for Sam, because of her striking looks, she had often been plied with alcohol by older boys when she first entered school. She had been deeply hurt and humiliated. Because of that, they were more able to empathize with the vulnerable among the crowd, and were willing to help people like Charlie. Yet, like any teenage boy, Charlie was too shy to express his feelings. Sam's boyfriend treated her terribly. He was always distracted, and never really listened to her, but Sam still wanted to be with him. Charlie disliked that guy, but he could only bury his frustration deep inside. Back at home, Charlie accidentally walked in on his sister and her immature boyfriend in the middle of an argument. During the fight, the guy slapped his sister. Charlie angrily stepped forward, but his sister stopped him, saying she would handle it. Yet just minutes later, Charlie witnessed something he couldn't understand. His sister and her boyfriend had already made up. He didn't understand why his sister would put up with such mistreatment, nor why Sam always ended up with the wrong men. This confusion lingered, so the next day, he decided to ask his teacher for advice.
Why do nice people choose the wrong people to date?
We accept the love we think we deserve.
Can we make them know that they deserve more? We can try.
That sentence gave Charlie hope and motivation. Throughout the entire winter, he accompanied Sam in her studies, and with Charlie's tutoring, Sam earned a satisfactory score, earning her the ticket to college. On Christmas Eve, Charlie prepared gifts for everyone. Each present was deeply loved by its recipient. That seemingly silent, passive boy actually understood the people around him better than anyone else. Sam also opened up to Charlie about her heartbreaking past. At age 11, she had been lured by her father's boss, and had something terrible happen to her. That experience made her think very little of herself, convinced that she didn't deserve to be treated well. This led her to always act submissive in relationships afterward, and she had never even imagined she could get into college. Charlie's presence gave Sam a glimmer of hope. Everything seemed to be heading in the right direction, but as Christmas approached, Charlie's mood plummeted, because his beloved Aunt Helen, on his birthday, had died in a car accident while going to buy him a gift, and that was a major reason for Charlie's introversion. He blamed himself entirely for his aunt's death. That overwhelming guilt had rendered him silent and withdrawn ever since. That night, Charlie walked out alone. He didn't know where he was going. He just kept walking until he finally collapsed. He lay there in the snow, losing all sense of time, with images of Aunt Helen replaying endlessly in his mind, until an ambulance took him to the hospital. To keep his parents from worrying, Charlie said nothing about his hallucinations, and tried hard to act like everything was fine. But this habit of suppressing himself to please others soon caused problems within his circle of friends, because he couldn't turn down the pursuit of Mary within their group. Charlie was forced to become her boyfriend. Mary liked to dump all her preferences onto Charlie, who only knew how to accept and never how to refuse. She constantly paraded their relationship in front of everyone, never once considering his feelings. She even disrespected Charlie's favorite books and music. Charlie felt suffocated by Mary's so-called love, but didn't know how to break free. Finally, at a party game among friends, things spiraled out of control. Charlie lost the game. As a penalty, Patrick made him kiss the most beautiful girl in the room. Instinctively, Charlie kissed Sam, while his girlfriend Mary was sitting right there. The air in the room instantly froze. Watching Mary walk away from him, Charlie panicked. He apologized over and over, but any explanation felt hollow in that moment. Mary and Sam had always had a delicate relationship, and this move completely upset the balance within the group. Patrick advised Charlie to stay away for a while, to let everyone cool down, but after 2 weeks went by, his friends still hadn't reached out. However, Charlie gets some news about Patrick. After Brad's father discovered their secret relationship, he gave his son a severe beating, but to save face in front of his friends, Brad lied, claiming he had been injured in a robbery. When Patrick walked past him, Brad's friends intentionally tripped him, and Brad not only ignored it, he laughed along with them. In private, he could be his true self, but in public, he couldn't accept being gay. So Brad chose the most hurtful way, to draw a line between them.
Whatever, faggot.
He could endure malice from the whole world, but he could not bear those words coming from the person he loved most. The two of them came to blows, but soon Brad's friends stepped in, making it 3 against 1. Just then, Charlie, who had always let himself be bullied, threw a punch. In a blur of adrenaline, he took down all 3, and saved Patrick. Charlie's brave intervention earned him newfound respect from his friends, and he was welcomed back into the group. Mary also forgave him, because she had found a new boyfriend. Everything seemed to be back on track. In the blink of an eye, the semester was drawing to a close. Sam and Patrick both received college acceptance letters. Graduation was just around the corner, and everyone was about to go their separate ways. Charlie's sister finally broke up with her childish boyfriend. Sam also became single after her boyfriend cheated on her, and Patrick was no longer the boy who had to survive on secrets and pretenses. He regained the courage to define himself. At the farewell party, Charlie gave Sam his favorite books, hoping they might give her some strength and comfort. That night, Sam asked Charlie why she and the people she loved always chose those who didn't care about them, and Charlie said the same words his teacher had once said to him.
We accept the love we think we deserve.
Then why didn't you ever ask me out?
I just didn't think that you wanted that.
I don't want to be somebody's crush. I want people to like the real me.
This time, Charlie, who had always played the wallflower, didn't back down. He confessed his feelings to Sam, but when she placed her hand on his thigh, Charlie immediately stopped, because that touch awakened some painful memories. The next morning, Charlie said goodbye to everyone. As the car disappeared from sight, the memories he had suppressed for over a decade finally burst through the dam. Aunt Helen had been the only light in Charlie's lonely childhood. Charlie loved her deeply and was heartbroken by her death, but beneath that love lay her inappropriate molestation of him. As Charlie grew older, he came to understand that what she did was not love, it was abuse. 2 extreme emotions tore at him from within, but he could find no outlet. He couldn't hate a person who was already dead, nor could he forgive the harm that had been done to him. In his most confused state, he called his sister, saying he believed he had killed Aunt Helen. Sensing something was terribly wrong, his sister immediately asked a friend to call the police. Just as Charlie was about to put an end to everything, the police broke down the door and pulled him back from the brink of death. Charlie was then taken to the hospital. Under the guidance of a psychiatrist, he spoke for the first time about the childhood trauma that had been sealed away for over a decade. Every Saturday during his childhood, Aunt Helen would molest him and then demand that Charlie keep it secret. When the psychiatrist shared this with Charlie's parents, they finally understood the root of their son's suffering. This long overdue truth filled his parents with guilt. For all those years, they had overlooked their son's feelings, so they resolved to spend spend the rest of their lives making it up to him, helping him heal with all their love and patience. And with his family by his side, Charlie began to understand that his aunt's death was a traffic accident, not a curse he had cast. His aunt's tenderness was a disguise, and the harm she caused was real. He didn't have to bear the guilt for someone else's tragedy. On the night he was discharged from the hospital, his family waited for Charlie to speak first. That night, he was no longer a bystander. He was an indispensable part of the family. That evening, his family also had a surprise for him. After learning that Charlie was out of the hospital, the siblings decided to take time off from college to come see him. They went to their usual burger joint, and they painted vivid pictures for Charlie of the freedom and beauty of college life, filling the soon-to-be sophomore with longing for the future. Charlie got into the car again, heading for the tunnel. This time, following Sam's example, he sat in the back.
Just one moment when you know you're not a sad story. You are alive. And you're listening to that song on that drive with the people you love most in this world. And in this moment, I swear, we are infinite.
As the car shot out of the tunnel, his unbearable past was left far behind. Before him were the countless lights of the city, and in his ears was the stirring music. He was no longer the wallflower in the corner. Instead, he had become the true protagonist of his own youthful story.